We scaled this leading UK mattress brand to over 10 million or 8 figures a year, and at the same time reduced their new customer acquisition costs by over 45%. To put it into perspective, their peak revenue month in November was over 1.5 million. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the exact step-by-step process that we implemented to take the brand from where they were to now over an 8-figure success. So let's get right into it. So diving into the Shopify dashboard, you can see this is where we're at now. Looking in the last 12 months, so over the period of 2025, our total revenue is just over £10 million. And as you can see, the record month that we had here was over 1.5 million, which is up 153% on the previous year. And the year in its entirety is up 114% versus 2024. So an important part to look at as well is in the returning customer report. We can see here the first time total sales, so this is new customer revenue, is 8.2 million and is up 135% year on year. Just over 80% of their total revenue is coming from completely new customers. And what makes that even better is if we dive into Triple L, as I said, their new customer acquisition cost is down by over 45% year on year, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we're spending way less to acquire a customer and we're acquiring a lot more of them. So the first step that we do when a brand comes on board with us is jump into our KPI calculator. Now it's incredibly easy to fill in, but the numbers that we get out of filling it in are so insightful, and we need to have an established foundation for what we need to achieve before we can start scaling. So just to break down quickly how this works, we put in our total sales, total orders, and the customer paid shipping over the last 90 days. This will help us work out some averages. We also get from the business owners their cost of goods and cost of shipping, so that will be how much your average order is costing you from cost of goods perspective, as well as how much it costs you to ship to your customer. This is all excluding VAT. I have blurred numbers on here just for privacy reasons, and then the only other thing we need from the business owner is their monthly fixed business cost. So this will be how much they pay towards rent, salaries, subscriptions, that kind of thing. Then these orange boxes can simply be grabbed from Shopify or any other backend platform that you're using. And as I say, the numbers that we get from this are so insightful prior to us scaling the brand. What this will give us is our gross margin, sales margin, contribution margin, and current net margin that we're achieving, as well as a recommended target. Now, having worked with over 250 plus e-commerce brands, we know the specific data points that are relevant for different types of businesses at different sizes and what target you should be achieving net profit wise. So as you can see, we have these highlights underneath to flag when things are good or bad. So if our gross margin is too low, it's likely the case that we're too cheap on pricing and we're not giving us enough breathing room to make any profit in the first place. Or if your sales margin is where you see a big drop, maybe it's the case that you've got too many refunds or you're getting rinsed by platforms like Klarna who charge ridiculous payment processing fees. Or you could have your contribution margin, which is after your fixed business costs. Are they too high for the size that your business is at right now? Or do you need to scale up your revenue to subsidize those costs? And then also your current net margin. If all of those things are good and you're still not where you need to be, it's likely the ads that are the problem. So before we even get started, we can see exactly what parts of the business need improving. And then down here we have the targets. So this is going to be really helpful because it shows us exactly what new customer acquisition cost is our break even, as well as our MER, and also what our target should be to hit that recommended net margin. And as you can see, in this particular instance, we had a 5.1 MER target and we're absolutely crushing that at the moment. We had a very successful Q4 last year with a 7.7 MER there. So the main point here is before you can start scaling, you need the foundations in place to know that you're profitable and know what you need to be achieving before you can start scaling. Now, from a meta perspective, if we dive into the one biggest thing that we changed to take them from where they were to where they are now, is going to be their attribution. Meta is awful when it comes to attribution, and I'm sure you'll see this all the time when you try and compare, say, your Google ads to your Meta ads. There's a ton of overlap. If you add the numbers together, it's way more than what you're seeing in the back end, and none of it makes sense. Meta is almost always the culprit in this scenario, and the reason being for this is something called one-day view attribution. Now, if you don't know how Meta's attribution works, you basically have a few different types. You've got 7-day click or one-day view, or the new incremental that they've just reached out. But just for this purpose, I'm going to focus on 7-day click and one-day view. So 7-day click, when someone actually clicks on the ad, if they purchase within a 7-day window from that click, it will be attributed to Meta. Whereas one-day view, the way this works is when they scroll past the ad, they don't even have to think about it or take any note of it. If they've simply just scrolled past it because Meta's retargeted someone who was likely about to buy, if they purchase that same day, Meta also gets the attribution. Now, the reason this is a big problem is if you do some research online, you'll be able to see that there are many instances instances where someone can purchase and then get served a Meta ad after the purchase has already happened, and Meta will still take credit for the sale. And for this reason, among also just the low intent, we like to exclude one-day view attribution from all our Meta campaigns. The only exclusion to this is a place where we can keep it nice and controlled and where we actually want Meta to be doing lots of retargeting, and that is in your retargeting campaign. Anything where the focus is driving new customers, we need to be only running 7-day click. So if we dive into Meta, just to show you how this would look if you're setting up a new campaign or ad set, bear in mind you cannot change the attribution setting of an ad set once you've published it. So make sure prior to publishing it that you have got this setting correct. Otherwise, you're going to have to duplicate it and then you risk losing some of your data. So we come in at an ad set level and we'll come down to attribution model here. And you can see it's currently set to standard, which is fine. Or you can also test out the new incremental, which we are seeing a lot of success with, which works in a similar way. But at a minimum, you either have 7-day click or incremental attribution. We don't want one-day view. Now, for this example, we're going to leave it standard. And then we go to show more settings. And as you can see, hidden in here are the attribution settings. Now you can change this out, so your click through we can keep it 7-day. Your engaged view for videos only, you can potentially leave this on, but we tend to not, and I like to have this set to none. And then the view through, which is the worst one of the batch because there's no engagement even needed, they don't have to look at it for more than a second, and it will attribute. Turn this off, keep that as none, and as you can see now we're at 7-day click attribution. The reason that we do this is simple. Meta needs data, and it needs good data in order to optimize to the right people. If we leave one-day view in there, it's going to start directing all of its spend towards people that are right on the limit of buying and no longer finding those new customers. When we have 7-day click attribution, Meta is only going to receive the sales it genuinely helped in driving, and therefore it's going to find more people that it can genuinely help convert. I cannot express how important this is. Now, a lot of other agencies won't do this because it makes your in-platform performance not look as good, but we don't care. We want the business in its entirety to scale. And as a business owner, I'm sure that's what you want as well. Hiding behind fake results is completely pointless. So the last thing on this topic before we move on to the next is how you can actually check in platform to see if your campaigns are showing just a load of view-throughs and not optimizing correctly. So come into the ads manager here, go to columns, and at the bottom go to compare attribution settings. As you can see here, under the standard attribution, we can click 7-day click as well as one-day view. And we can click apply, and it'll pull in these extra 2 columns here, as you can see. Now, what we want to see is that 7-day click column matching up with the result column. If this result column is way higher than the 7-day click, it's because it's adding on all of these one-day view conversions, which is what we don't want. So in summary, pull in this 7-day click and one-day view column. If the number of 7-day clicks is far from the number of results, something needs to change because your meta is not optimizing correctly. And now we move on to the creative itself. Now, the important part before you start briefing in or creating any creatives, it's understanding the business and understanding your target demographic. One of the key things that we do as an agency is run you through this brand research and micro persona development guide. Now, it's a 6-step process that involves using AI. What we'll do is use AI to search through all these different things such as your reviews, competitor reviews, or even Reddit forums. And what this will do is it will find the pain points that people are having with your product or competitor products, which then allows us to build micro personas and actually build intentional ads for specific people and what they're experiencing. You can't just throw a product in someone's face on Meta and expect them to buy it. There needs to be a reason, and pain points and problem solving are the biggest ways to do that. So for the mattress brand that I've been referring to, we ran this and we found the 3 biggest pain points. Number 1 was people feeling pain in the morning, specifically back pain and just stiff like they couldn't move in the morning. Number 2, overheating, so people are waking up too hot, their mattress is absolutely covered in sweat, and if anyone has been there, that is a horrible way to wake up in the morning. And number 3, which I think is a really interesting one, is people complaining about their partner rolling around a lot at night, and that motion transfers to them and it rocks you around in your bed because they're moving around, and obviously that's not good for a great night's sleep. And so then, instead of in our ads just talking about how many pocket springs it has or how soft it is, we decided to solve these specific pain points. Now, as we know with the Andromeda update, we need creative diversity, and that was our job, to produce diverse creative that allowed us to target specific micro personas. So diving into just a few examples of the ads that we made in order to combat those pain points. Now, looking at this first one, I've taken a frame from the video. You can see it's an older woman. She was experiencing a lot of back pain, especially throughout the day, stopping her from going to sleep at night, and then also in the mornings, waking up with a lot of pain. We go through how once she changed out her mattress to this particular brand, that back pain went away and her quality of life massively improved. So this is all about that storytelling and solving the pain point. This second ad, for those people that were getting too hot, we have a lady sat here on the bed running through frequently asked questions. And in this particular example, we have, is memory foam too hot to sleep on? She was able to answer the question, handle the objection, and solve the specific pain point. And then the last one that we have here, for those people that were complaining about their partner rolling around a lot at night and keeping them up, obviously that's through a transfer of motion through the mattress, rocking them around. We showed here a 5-second test where we had a wine glass and then dropped a very heavy stack of books on the left-hand side, quite close, and the wine glass barely even moved. So this was to show that if your partner was rolling around a lot at night, that motion would not transfer to you. Again, solving a pain point, giving the customer a real reason to purchase your product. And that summarizes the key things that we did to help this brand scale to 8 figures a year and reduce their new customer acquisition costs by over 45%. To summarize, 1, know your numbers. Don't give a rough ROAS target that you think is what you need to be achieving. Know exactly what you need to achieve in terms of acquiring a new customer, as well as your blended ROAS or MER after everything. So you know your net profit and your fixed costs, etc. You can either use our KPI calculator coming on board with Public Nectar or work this out another way, but you need to know your numbers before you can start scaling an e-commerce brand. Number 2, fix your attribution, especially meta. Don't let it go down a rabbit hole of targeting people who are going to buy anyway. Switch it to 7-day click or incremental attribution so it actually starts optimizing for true new customers. Number 3, before you start launching just a load of random ads, actually research your personas. Deep dive through Reddit forums, your own reviews, or even customer reviews, and find out what issues people are facing and how your product can solve them. Start telling a story. You need to go back to the basics and understand the psychology behind marketing a product. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand stuck trying to scale past 7 or 8 figures, there is a link in the description where you can get a completely free growth audit from our team of experts. You can effectively take them for a test drive and see how we can scale your brand and if we're a good fit for one another. It will simply be just honest feedback and what needs to change in your accounts to take them from where they are now to the next level. If you did enjoy the video, please hit like and subscribe. There'll be more content coming out every week just like this. So do stay tuned. And with that, I will see you in the next one.